Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope everyone had a great Christmas. TheHORRORman back with the next review of the Fangoria challenge. And this time, Jason and I watched Wendigo. Wendigo is a 2001 horror film, written and directed by Larry Fessenden. And according to Fangoria, it's one of the 101 best horror movies you've never seen. I'm not so sure about that with this one, guys. I'm not sure. With that being said, I remember this movie getting a lot of love. That was about 20 years ago when it was released. I had watched it one time back then, and to be honest, I wasn't blown away. But I did enjoy it. This was my second time watching Wendigo for the Fangoria challenge. Well, surprising as this might sound, I think I enjoyed it the first time I watched it. That was almost 2 decades ago, so tastes change, I guess. I definitely wouldn't say I dislike Wendigo, it just wasn't one of my favorites on this list. You'll see that reflected, though, when Jason and I rank all 101 movies when we're done with the challenge. My favorite thing about the film is the cast. Jake Weber plays a photographer named George. Patricia Clarkson plays his wife, Kim. And Eric Sullivan from Malcolm in the Middle, and who would go on to later play in Christmas with the Cranks, plays their son, Miles. George, Kim, and Miles live in New York City, but they are headed up to upstate New York for a weekend getaway. They will be staying in an isolated house in the wintry woods. It's a very snowy movie, and it does capture that cold atmosphere. On the way to the house, they hit a deer and have a run-in with some hunters who have been tracking it. One of the hunters, a man named Otis, is not very pleasant. In fact, he's angry that one of the antlers on the deer has been cracked. He claims the deer was his to kill so that he could sell the antlers for a lot of money. Unfortunately, now because of the accident, he won't be able to do that, and he blames George. Otis is slightly passive-aggressive in this initial exchange, but it won't be the last they see of him. His land is right next door to the house where George, Kim, and Miles will be staying. When the family finally arrives at the house, George finds that one of the windows is broken, and there's a bullet lodged in the wall. Miles is still a bit uneasy after witnessing the heated exchange between his father and the hunters. He envisions Otis entering the house and firing his gun. But is it just a nightmare, or a preview of what's to come? On a trip to a local store, Miles meets a Native American man who gives him a wooden sculpture of a Wendigo. The man also tells him the legend behind the spirit. The Wendigo is a shapeshifter with an insatiable appetite. The more it eats, the bigger it gets. And the bigger it gets, the hungrier it gets. It is from this point on when a series of accidents take place involving the family. Is it merely fate, or the work of an evil spirit, such as a Wendigo? Like I said earlier, I do remember a lot of people liking this movie when it was first released. In fact, I think that's why I was sort of disappointed with it the first time I watched it, because it was overhyped. I did like it, just not as much as everyone else seemed to. Well, unfortunately, after revisiting it all these years later, I didn't like it as much as that first time. That doesn't mean it's a bad movie, though. I wouldn't say it is. It's just a slow burn that, for me, never really goes anywhere exciting. I do love the cast, as I said. It's my favorite thing about the movie. I like Larry Fessenden's directing. And I like that it was filmed on location in snowy upstate New York. The chilly atmosphere is definitely a plus. Wendigo stories have been done a bunch of times in horror movies, and this one takes a more psychological approach. If you like that sort of thing, then you will probably like Wendigo. I, however, prefer the Wendigo story in Ghost Keeper. my relatable recommendation. What's relatable about this one is the Wendigo aspect and the snowy setting. But Ghost Keeper is a 1981 slasher film. It should be no surprise that I'd obviously prefer a slasher version of the Wendigo story. Ghost Keeper is super underrated, and as a matter of fact, it's the perfect watch for this week, because it's set on New Year's Eve. But have you seen Wendigo? If so, what do you think of it? Comment below and let me know. And please be sure to check out Jason's review. When to come and when to go? Well, it's time to go. But what's up next in the Fangoria challenge? Check back soon to find out. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and be kind. Subscribe.